Good day, folks. Thank you for joining us here at Your Health. In recent years, we've had much confusion about women's hormones issues. What do? I hear all this negative press about the use of hormone therapies, and yet a time arises in your life, ladies, where you must take hormones and you're scared to death of it, aren't you? Isn't that your state of mind? Well, today's program is one of the absolute most important programs we'll ever air on Your Health. Dr. Pamela Smith joins us. She has written a wonderful book called What You Must Know About Women's Hormones. We will answer your questions about hormone therapies today and whether your symptoms could be due to aberrant hormones. Important, yeah, I think you're getting the point. But first, let's go to the news. Let's see what's happening in the health world. Have you ever noticed when women gather together, it seems to brighten their mood? New research from the University of Michigan may explain why. Feeling emotionally close to a friend increases levels of the hormone progesterone, and that hormone boosts a woman's sense of well-being and reduces anxiety. Researchers found when women engage in activities that promote emotional closeness, it raises the woman's progesterone levels. The scientists also measured the levels of the hormone a week later. They found the women had elevated progesterone levels and showed an increased willingness to risk injury or even life to protect a new friend. Well, isn't this interesting? Having an emotional experience with a friend leads to an elevation of progesterone, the hormone that also promotes pregnancy. Now, the elevated progesterone level then leads to a greater likelihood of being willing to protect your friend, even if it means you'll suffer bodily harm. Now, the scientists claim their findings explain, at least in part, the biochemistry of why moms are so willing to provide care for family and friends. Well, thank goodness for progesterone, because where would we be without moms and their loving care? This study also helps us to understand in a positive way how hormones influence our thoughts, emotions, and even our willingness to help others. And it provides insight and understanding of the challenges women face with menopause and hormone fluctuations throughout life. Women can lower their risk of breast cancer. Researchers from Canada point to 3 simple lifestyle factors that play a huge role in whether women develop breast cancer. Those factors are weight gain, smoking, and exercise. The study evaluated the lifestyle practices and medical histories of 560 Canadian women. The researchers chose women without the 2 genes, BRCA1 and BRCA2, that raised the risk of the inherited type of breast cancer. They found if a 30-year-old gained more than 22 pounds, or a 40-year-old gained more than just 12 pounds, it nearly doubled the risk of breast cancer. They also found if a woman smoked a pack of cigarettes a day for 9 years, it increased the risk of breast cancer by about 60%. However, regular modest exercise lowered the risk by 50%. And one more interesting note, intense exercise did not add any extra benefit over modest exercise. Folks, only 2 to 3% of breast cancer is due to this breast cancer-causing BRCA or BRCA gene. So it's critically important to look for other causes. Now, this study from the University of Montreal helps us to better understand these factors. Now, we've known for some time now that regular exercise lowers the risk of breast cancer, and this study confirms that, but they also found extreme exercise doesn't add much benefit. So your daily walks are enough, ladies. That's good news, isn't it? Secondly, they found smoking increases the risk. No surprise here, but they did find smoking for just 9 years is enough to raise the risk of breast cancer. And finally, weight gain, again, no surprise. However, they found weight gain with age, especially after age 50, more than doubled breast cancer risk. Ladies, weight gain around 50 is typically hormone-related and very difficult to lose. So difficult, we've called in an expert to help us formulate a plan to lose weight and reduce the risk of breast cancer. We'll discuss this plus more today with Dr. Pamela Smith. She has a new book. It's titled What You Must Know About Women's Hormones. On today's program, it's all about the health of women, daughters, sisters, wives, grandmothers. Please join us when we answer your critical health questions. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. It is such a blessing to be with you today. We're going to be taking calls, so pick up that phone, get in line. We want to talk to you. I got to tell you, ladies, you've got to watch this show today. This day is for you. And men, I need you to listen too, because you can help that other someone in your life, that precious mother, daughter, or wife. This is why we have Dr. Pamela Smith with us. She's the director of the Center for Healthy Living and Longevity in suburban Detroit, Michigan. Dr. Smith is also the founder and director of the Fellowship in Metabolic, Anti-Aging, and Functional Medicine at the University of South Florida. That means she teaches the doctors. She's the diplomat of the Board of American Academy of Anti-Aging Physicians and is an internationally known speaker and author. And we're going to talk about her newest book, What You Must Know About Women's Hormones. Ladies, sit back and listen. Don't try to write it all down. It'll be too much. Just order a copy of the program today, and this show could change your life as you go through the change of life. Dr. Smith, I'm so glad you came back today. I need you.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
I mean, I need you. So this is going to be for all of us ladies.
And you've been so busy starting your new program at the University of South Florida?
University of South Florida School of Medicine.
Oh, congratulations. That's a big event. I'm very proud of you. I'm in your corner. I'm backing you all the way.
Well, thank you.
Now, Doctor, we saw in our news today 3 critical factors in the risk for breast cancer for women. When we cut the genetic component out, the BRCA genes, get rid of those. You know, if I have that gene, I have it. If I don't, you know, I need to know the other things. We found smoking, not a surprise, right?
Not a surprise.
Okay. We found exercise reduces the risk. Not a surprise, we've seen that. But what about this weight gain as we age, especially 40, 50 and up, even a little bit of weight? Did that surprise you?
It doesn't, because we know that sugar feeds cancer cells.
Okay.
And as we age, when our hormones change as women, it also changes how we metabolize blood sugar in our body. All the hormones together are literally a web. They're a symphony. And when the symphony starts playing out of tune, as we become menopausal, it really gets your blood sugar out of tune as well.
You know, I really want to capture the feeling of a person's life when they're in that 45 to 55 range. I'm there, I'm in that age group. And you're trying your best to be healthy, to get your exercise, eat right, and yet the weight still keeps coming.
And
Have you ever experienced that?
Yes, personally.
Oh, why does that happen? Can we understand just that?
Well, as the hormones become out of balance, most women still have a lot of estrogen, and their progesterone starts declining. And so if they have too much estrogen, they can gain weight. Some women end up taking progesterone without a prescription.
Right.
If progesterone's too high in relationship to estrogen, they'll gain weight.
Right.
If testosterone goes too high or too low, they'll gain weight. If they're stressed, they gain weight. If their thyroid's not working well, they do. And then all of those hormones have a direct relationship on insulin and how your body metabolizes or breaks down blood sugar.
So you're saying that estrogen or progesterone, any of these can make, or the thyroid, can make you gain weight. So you're really saying we probably shouldn't be treating ourselves in this issue.
We really shouldn't be, because the medicine is here, the science is here to help us. There's nothing more frustrating than to work really hard at losing weight, exercising, doing everything you're supposed to, and the weight doesn't come off.
Okay, this is the frame of mind I think so many women are at. These dangerous pitfalls of hormone therapies. And I think many of them say, I don't want anything to do with it. I'll just suffer in silence, right? I can't deal with that.
Well,
don't you think that happens a lot?
Yeah, that does to a degree, because they don't understand that it's not their fault or that it's not them. They think this is just the way it is.
Okay. Well, let's do this. I think we're kind of getting the cart before the horse. We need to lay a foundation for how we can do this properly with minimal risk and, in fact, lessening of risk of disease, hormone situations. I think it's everyone's goal to live as long and healthy a life as possible. What recent scientific findings have come to bear that really make this a true potential for all of us? Longer, healthier life.
Well, there's a lot of things that do. Certainly looking at telomere length is a huge issue when we look at longevity and how healthy we stay. And as you know, omega-3 fatty acids are very important, i.e. fish oil, to take so that your telomeres don't shorten, but also hormones are a key component. Women do not usually understand that estrogen literally has 400 functions in a woman's body. 400.
Yeah.
So that it's taste, touch, smell, hearing, skin tone. Estrogen lowers cholesterol, blood sugar, blood pressure, maintains memory. In fact, it equals memory. It even affects our eyes because women have estrogen receptors in their eyes. And so macular degeneration and cataracts can be associated to a low estrogen level.
So we've come to understand the role of hormones much better.
We have. There was a landmark trial that came out in postgraduate medicine in January last year.
Okay.
And it looked at natural, meaning the same chemical structure that God gave you, of hormones, and that therapy versus no therapy versus using synthetic hormones. And it definitely showed that women should be hormonally sound throughout their entire life, and that natural hormonal therapy or the same chemical structure is what we should be using.
So is it required to take hormones to achieve that, or can it happen on its own throughout all the decades of life?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
God designed us that we don't need hormone replacement,
Okay.
literally, because our adrenal glands take over and make many of our hormones after menopause, because we're not trying to get pregnant, we're trying to maintain function.
Right.
The problem occurs that our adrenal glands don't work well if we're stressed.
Oh, yeah, stress.
I have two patients in my
Stress.
practice, and they don't need hormones in their 70s. They married the perfect gentleman. All of their children were perfect. They all got great jobs. Their grandchildren, everything is wonderful.
So you have 2 out of thousands?
I had 2 out of thousands.
Okay.
And if we weren't stressed and we trusted God, then that would be a whole different story.
Yeah.
Women wouldn't need hormones. Unfortunately, with today's world, there's so much stress, almost all women have hormonal decline.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, stepping back a little bit, we're talking about when your hormones change. But then let's go back and answer the question about when really in a woman's life do they start changing? When does this estrogen start going down? So when should I go get tested and see how my estrogen is being metabolized? And when I need to start this whole process of awareness. I don't want to wait until I'm 30 pounds overweight to address it.
Well, really, when we look at women's hormones, we start with the idea of before you're born. We know that when women are pregnant, if they take omega-3 fatty acids like fish oil, their children have higher IQs, less ADD, and less dyslexia. We also now, in metabolic and anti-aging medicine, specialize in what we call preconception medicine, where we look at how healthy the mother is before she gets pregnant, because we know she's full of PCBs and dioxins and other things, and we can measure those now. We can look at toxic metals, we can look at her nutritional status, and then when women deliver, their hormonal status changes. And sometimes it does not come back and reset itself correctly. Plus, if women have taken hormonal therapy like birth control pills, patches, IUDs, that alters our hormones. So to answer your question briefly, throughout our entire life, our hormones, we have to keep going back and revisiting the subject.
Does this new approach, and I really must say it is a new approach. We've thought of hormone therapies for decades, but making them identical to a woman's hormones, that is relatively new, correct?
That is relatively new,
Okay.
and the reason for that is the science had to catch up to it.
The science, absolutely. It's all based in science. Is this helping us get closer to the cause of disease as opposed to treating symptoms with antidepressants and mood stabilizers and this type of thing? Are we getting closer to the root causes
We are.
with this approach?
We are, and I hope we talk more about that today.
We will. Let's do that. Folks, we have a break coming. We'll be back in a moment.